Triathlon Coach, Fit Academy Multisport Coach, Team Anchor Triathlon Coach, DMCI Multisport Team Captain for the women's team, and a former national athlete for triathlon, cycling, and duathlon. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Kaye Lopez.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Coach Kaye Lopez. I'm here to talk about tips to get you through the 56-mile bike course of Cebu 70.3, Cobra Ironman 70.3. Okay, may I ask how many first-timers we have today? First-timers, Glenda. First-timers of 70.3. And I assume you know what 70.3 means, right? It's the number of miles, total number of miles for the swim, bike, and run. And if you notice, I don't know if you already realized this by now, but 56 miles of the 70.3 is almost 80% of the entire race. So it's very important to learn how you will be able to be most efficient in the longest part of the race, which is the bike leg. Okay. Okay, 56 tips to conquer 56 miles or 90 kilometers. Okay, number one. Okay, this is very important for everybody, especially once you hit the age of 40. We've already had, triathlon is notorious for being a dangerous sport. It's very strenuous to the heart. So it is best to get a health checkup before you sign up for any race. 70.3 is not a joke. It's a very difficult endurance race. So it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay. Next. Cheat the win. Okay, so as athletes, we never want to be called cheaters, but there's a legal way to cheat, and that is to get the bike fit, to get on the correct bike, so that when you're on your bike, you're in the most aerodynamic position without having to sacrifice your comfort. Because 56 miles or 90 kilometers is a long way to be having aches and pains while you're riding. So we have to balance aerodynamics with comfort. Next. Number 3, build your aerobic base. This is probably the most important bike skill to learn for a 70.3 race. It's an endurance event, so aerobic base is the #1 priority for your training. So, but there's also a way not to overdo the training or overtrain yourself. You don't have to do 90 kilometers. Especially if you're a beginner, you might find 90 kilometers very daunting when you're doing your training for 70.3. So, triathletes who can complete 50 to 80% of the race distance in training can be successful on race day. So don't have the misconception na, oh no, it's 90 kilometers, I have to be able to complete 90 kilometers during training. That's not the case. Okay, so like what's written there, 25 to 45 miles is already enough to train for 56 miles. Completing 1 to 3 rides in the 80 to 110% range will build deeper endurance fitness. What that means is if you're, for example, you're already more advanced and you want to raise the bar in terms of your training and your performance, if you're able to do 80 to 110% and you already have the experience and the number of years on your legs, then that will also be an advantage for you. Number 4, increase weekend training hours. Okay, there's a way to schedule your workouts and maximize your time. I know everybody here, most of us don't train for a living and we all have lives outside of triathlon. So scheduling your workouts is going to be a good idea for us ordinary people. So what you can do is, if you expect your race to last for 6 to 7 hours, your longest weekend workouts might include an hour swim. You can do this before or after the ride. And then you can ride for 4 hours. Doesn't matter how many kilometers or miles you finish in 4 hours. And then on the Saturday, that's on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, you might want to schedule your long run of 90 to 120 minutes. So you don't have to do everything in one day. So the trick here is you are simulating the race distance or the stress of the race distance of the 70.3, but you are splitting it into 2 days. So that will also work. So as it's written there, total training time is between 80 and 100% of estimated race time, but you split it into 2 days. So that will put less stress on your body. Okay, next. Number 5, quality over quantity. So 70.3 is a very long race, and usually you want to gradually build up your endurance or your fitness in several months or weeks. So the risk of overtraining is very eminent. So what you have to do, what you have to prioritize is efficiency. Efficiency is important because you are doing it for several hours. So if you are very efficient, your form is correct, whether it's for the swim, bike, or run, you will be able to sustain your pace or fatigue later in the race. Instead of, if your form is bad, whether it's for swim, bike, or run, early on in the race, you're already tired because you're not efficient. So that's very important. Quality over quantity, as I said earlier, doesn't matter if you complete the 90K or if you train for 6 hours, do a 6-hour ride. It's not important. The important thing is that you are able to make the most of the time you have for training. So quality over quantity. Don't get swept up into the false thought process that he or she with the most training hours wins. That's not the case. You have to be smart with your training and your time. Okay, next. Number 6, carb up. Okay, the one of the perks of being a triathlete is you get to enjoy a lot of carbs because that's what we use in training and in racing. So before, carbo loading used to be a process of depleting your carbs or not eating carbs for 3 days, and then all of a sudden, maybe on a day before or 2 days before, start eating lots of carbs. But that's not advisable anymore. So what you do, you focus on carbs 3 to 4 days before your major event. That doesn't mean you overeat. It's just that if you have a certain number of calories in a day, you focus more on getting your calories more on carbs rather than protein or fat as you prepare for your race. Okay. Next. Stay hydrated. Especially in our country, it's super hot. And in Cebu, unless it's gonna rain on race day, it's gonna be hot also. So again, the hydrating doesn't start when you're already on the bike. It starts 2 to 3 days before the race. You try to drink as much water as you can. It's okay if you have to go to the bathroom several times. At least you know that you're well hydrated in advance. Because if you start loading up just on the day or when you're already on the bike, that might be too late. Okay. Eat all you can. Again, another perk of being a triathlete. When you're on the bike, many people make the mistake of forgetting to eat when you're on the bike. But what you eat on the bike is going to be helpful for you when you start running. Aside from, of course, helping you get through the 90-kilometer bike leg. So, as you can see in the picture, all of the energy gels are already taped on the bike because you wanna, of course, you wanna practice this in training, but you wanna eat as much as you can on the bike because when you start running, it's going to be difficult to eat. It's harder to eat on the run than on the bike. So, treat the bike leg as a rolling buffet. That is your go signal to eat as much as you can on the bike. Okay. Take small, frequent sips. Ideally, you want to be drinking well ahead. Like, for example, a while ago, we talked about staying hydrated 3 to 4 days before the race. When you're already racing, you want to be able to drink before you start getting thirsty. So, How to do that is to drink when you're already on the bike. After 10 to 15 minutes, make sure you take a sip of water. Then, if you have to set an alarm on your watch or on your bike computer, go ahead if that's gonna help you. But you wanna be able to beat dehydration before it starts. Okay, and then ideally, one water bottle, the usual size of a water bottle, you wanna be able to finish that in 1 hour. So if your race is going to be, let's say, 3 hours on the bike, you want to be able to drink 3 big bottles of water or sports drink. Okay. You want to have carbs in your drink, in sports drinks, because after 60 to 90 minutes of exercise, you will already deplete whatever sugar you have in your body. The sugar in your muscles is called glycogen. So that's the one you use when you're racing. So after 60 to 90 minutes, it's going to be depleted and you're going to start slowing down. So to beat that, you want to have something, you want to have sugar in your sports drink in your bottle. Sip every 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, number 10, keep the carbs coming. So one way you can keep the carbs coming is by using gels. This one you have to practice in training because not all types of gels will work for everybody. So it depends on the brand, how much to take, how often, all of that you have to figure out in training. Your formula, you have your own personal formula for your nutrition. Sometimes people don't react well to caffeine, so you have to take that into consideration also. So again, you want to keep the glycogen topped up so that you're strong until the end. So and just remember, whenever you take the gels, you have to take it with water, not sports drink, because you're going to upset your stomach if you take it with sports drink. So water only. Next. Number 11, hydrating in hot weather, especially in our country. Of course, there's already a set amount of carbs in your sports drink, especially if you buy the ones that are already prepared. In a hot weather situation, you might benefit more from lowering the carbs or the sugar. For example, if you can buy a powdered sports drink, maybe you put less powder, more water, but you have to bring back the electrolytes. So one way you can bring back the electrolytes that you remove because you put less powder, maybe you can try salt tablets or salt sticks. Those are ways that you can add more electrolytes because once you sweat in hot weather, the electrolytes go along with it. So that's one way to help you with that. High electrolyte, you may benefit from a low-calorie, high electrolyte beverage to ensure quick emptying from the stomach into the intestines without irritation. Because when you get dehydrated, when you deplete your electrolytes, sometimes it's going to upset your stomach. So you have to keep replenishing your electrolytes. Next. Okay, this is similar to what I said earlier. Every time you sweat, electrolytes go along with it, so you can replenish it by using gels, salt tablets, or your sports drinks will have electrolytes also. Okay, next. Up your sodium intake. So this is the recommended. You will be able to see the content, the electrolyte or the sodium content in the label of your sports drink. So 800 to 1,200 milligrams an hour. 16 to the normal is 800 to 1,200. But when it starts to get hot, or if you're going to race in the Philippines or in Cebu, you might want to increase it to 1,600 to 2,500 milligrams, depending on your sweat rate. So the sweat rate, you can actually determine that by weighing yourself before and after. If, for example, 1 pound is equivalent to 1 liter of water lost. So you want to be able to replenish that. If you lose maybe a pound in an hour, it's kind of considered already high sweat rate. So you want to be able to replenish your electrolytes or your sodium. Okay, not having enough sodium, if you cramp during the race, that might be the cause. So you have to figure it out in training so it doesn't happen during the race. Okay, next. Watch your caffeine, okay? If you are a coffee drinker, you need to start your day with your coffee, then most probably you won't be affected if your energy gels have caffeine. But for people who are not used to taking coffee or caffeine, it might disrupt your digestive system. So again, we go back to practicing everything on race day. If your body doesn't work with caffeine, you're better off not including it in your race nutrition, because it can cause nausea and headaches. But the advantage of taking caffeine is that it increases energy, delays fatigue. So you have to weigh things. Okay. Okay, beware of solid foods. So the solid one is the Snicker bar on the picture. Gels are considered non-solid food choices for the race. The advantage of a non-solid food is you're able to absorb it faster than maybe a Snickers bar. The Snickers has fat, it's high in sugar, usually simple sugars. So unless you've practiced it in race day and it works for you, some people might have a hard time digesting the Snickers bar because it's a solid food. So you wanna try that in training. Okay. Number 16. Malayo pa tayo. Find what works. Again, I've been repeating this since the beginning. You have several races lined up probably before Cebu. So those are all chances for you to try everything, especially your nutrition. Because the last thing you want is having a bad stomach during the race. And, after months and months of training, everything is down the drain because you ate something bad. So that's the last thing you want. So everything needs to be practiced during training and your B races. Next, bring some backup. So last race, in the previous race a few weekends ago, one of my students dropped all of his gels during the race. So he had to do the whole race with nothing but water or whatever it was in his bottle. So one way to prevent that from happening is be a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout. Be prepared. Maybe you need 3 gels for a short race. Why not bring an extra? Just to be sure, if you drop something or something happens to the other gels, at least you have something. Okay. And then, okay, now we get to the bike. Many things can happen during the race. Not everything that will happen to you on the race will happen to you during training. So best to be prepared. I know not everyone is interested about the little things, the technical stuff about the bike, but it pays to know. Like fixing a flat. That's one of the most important things to know, because when you're out there, triathlon doesn't allow you to have outside help. Maybe when you're training, you have friends who know how to fix a flat, they'll fix it for you. But on the race, they're very strict about it. So you're on your own. So might as well learn how to fix a flat. And just minor things like, if, for example, your chain fell, knowing how to put it back, it's very simple. You'll be able to do that without even getting off your bike. And then get advice from experienced cyclists or triathletes to help you get through the minor technical problems on the bike. Okay. Okay, now we're in the packing of the bike. Because we're gonna go to Cebu, you wanna know how to pack your bike. I think most events provide bike mechanics to do these things for you. Some, you bring it to the shop before you leave, and then they will have a counterpart to build it back up when you get to the race venue. But of course, then you'll have to line up and wait for everybody to finish. So might as well know how to do it yourself. Um, you don't have to wait in line for everybody to build their bikes up. So, and also knowing how to build your bike also gives you the confidence you need to know how to deal with minor glitches during the race. So it's psychologically it's also very helpful. Okay, next. Number 20, make a list. So when you're gonna pack your own bike, or even when you are gonna watch somebody or observe an expert assemble and disassemble your bike, might as well make a list. Every time you take something out, list it down, make sure you know how to put it back. If you need to take pictures on how to put it back together again, that will also help. And just make sure that everything that you took out is going to be there for you to assemble. Okay. Okay, travel smart. So when you're going to book your flight, they will ask you, most airlines ask you how many kilograms you need for your baggage allowance. So in my experience, if you are going to use a hard case, you might need 25 kilograms of baggage allowance. If you're going to use a soft case, maybe 15 to 20 kilograms will do. So if you know all these things and you can weigh your bike before you leave for the airport, then you don't have to pay extra and spend so much money on excess baggage. It's super expensive when you pay already in the airport. You'll save a lot by paying online. So check if your airline has that provision. Okay, next. Okay, let the pressure out. Usually this is checked by the ground staff, but just do it in advance. Make sure that you take out the pressure from your tires, especially when you're going to put it inside the bike bag, because you don't want your tires to explode while in the air, and then you don't have anything else to use when you get to when you get to the race. So better be safe. Just take out the air. Okay. Bike checklist. Okay. There are other things that you might need for your swim and your run, but this is most of what you'll need for the bike. Shades, clear or dark lens if you don't know the weather, helmet. Cebu is a very fast course, so if you can invest in a TT bike, that will be an advantage because your helmet is the first thing that comes in contact with the wind. So that will be an advantage. Cycling shoes. Don't forget your cycling shoes because you can't bike without your shoes. And then socks, optional. Some people prefer not to use socks on the bike. It's actually faster for transition. And then the gloves, also optional. If you don't use gloves, you'll save time in transition. Okay. Continuation of the list. Spare tube. You want to bring 2 because at least you have 1 for the front and 1 for the back. Regarding the spare tube, just make sure that the valve is compatible. The valve is the thing that you put air into when you're pumping your tires. Make sure that your valve is compatible with your rim because there are some valves that are short. And then when you bring it, you buy it, and you didn't know that there's a difference between the valves, and then you get a flat during the race, and then it doesn't come out of the rim. So those are the things you need to check. A pocket pump or a CO2 cartridge. It's much more convenient to have a CO2 cartridge because you don't have to do the motion of exercising your arms to pump with a pocket pump. Floor pump for before the race or when you're doing your recon, when you're assembling your bike again, the floor pump is more convenient than a hand pump. Patch kit, energy gels and energy bars, your nutrition, hydration, water sports drink, and then pocket flashlight because sometimes when you go to transition and it's early in the morning, maybe, sometimes there's not enough lighting and you're looking for something in your transition area. So pocket flashlight will be very helpful. Okay. Use the right equipment. One of the number one investments that you can have for your bike that you can help you with your comfort is your saddle, because that is the one that makes contact with your behind. And 90K is a long way to go sitting on a saddle that's not comfortable for you. So when you're training, take the time to check if you are comfortable with your saddle. And then if you're not, just keep researching, keep asking around so that you can find the right saddle for you. And then, prevent chafing. So whenever you're riding long, training or racing, the risk of chafing gets higher. So there are products out there that can help you with the chafing, like Body Glide or petroleum jelly or chamois cream. You can put it in all the areas where you experience the rubbing. So even in the cycling in the padding of your shorts, that will also help. Next. Number 27. Okay, there are some minor or important bike checks for you to do before you rack your bike in transition the day before the race. So when you get there, just test your bike, shake it down, make sure that the gears are working properly. Sometimes, because you disassembled, then assembled your bike, sometimes the gears don't work properly. So those are things you will be able to adjust before the race. You can do this on your own. It's just a adjustment in the tension. But if you prefer an expert to do this, you can bring it to the event bike mechanic to have it checked. Bike check number 2, the tires. Okay, so from the plane, you're gonna have to inflate it. Inflate it slowly, know your proper tire pressure. Usually, the tire pressure is according to your weight. So know the proper tire pressure for you. If it's raining, it's more advisable to have less pressure on your tires so you don't slip. So those are the things you have to consider. And then you need to check your tires. If there's wear and tear. This is something you should have checked before you even flew out of Manila so that you still have time to change it. So if the rubber is so degraded that you can see threads or any sidewall damage, then it's time to change your tires. Okay. Next, bike check number 3, the wheels. One thing to check with your wheels, the quick release. Make sure there's the spring is intact. Make sure that it tightens because you can have an accident if your wheel is not properly attached to your bike. And then the other thing is that they're trued or the wheel is centered. It's the same thing with cars. So make sure that your wheel isn't wobbling from side to side. Okay. Bike check number 4. The brakes, most important because you can get into an accident if your brakes aren't working properly. So brake pads should look shiny. You can rough them up so that they can have more friction on your rim by rubbing them with sandpaper. And then you have to clean your rims. Make sure there's no debris on the rims because that can affect your braking. And then if the pads are worn or the grooves are nearly gone, your brake pads have some slots in between them. So if they are gone, then you need to change it or else you're not going to be able to brake properly. And the parts. Okay. Wipe down the components. This is when you're cleaning your bike and look for anything that needs attention. Maybe for the parts, it's best to consult a bike mechanic or an expert. So they'll be able to tell you if there's something wrong with anything. Secure tattered tape or loose grips. That's the one, your bar tape. Make sure that they're properly taped. That's also drag if something is sticking out. And then use a degreaser or gummed up cables and housing. So maybe these things you can do with your loyal, trusted bike mechanic. Don't ride if cables look frayed or rusted. So those are the things you need to check. Okay, number 5, the links. The links or the chain. So you need to lube your chain regularly. Maybe once a week, make sure that the lube hasn't dried up. And then you have to clean the grime from the moving parts such as the chain links, derailleur, and brake pivot points. So it's just a reminder to frequently lube all the parts of your bike that need lubrication. Okay, and then, make an inventory. Check that your spare tube still holds air. Maybe you're gonna bring a spare tube and then it doesn't work anymore, so you have to check. Like what I said a while ago, the correct valve length for your rim. And then make sure the glue in your patch kit that hasn't dried up yet. And then make sure your seat bag is stocked with get-home tools such as levers and a multi-tool. So you need all those things because a spare tire is useless if you don't have the equipment you need to replace a flat tire. So those things you need to bring even during the race. Okay. And then test your gear. It's just like nutrition and hydration. You need to be able to test everything well before the race. If you try anything new, if you adjust anything, change your tires, move your seat, those are things that could cause problems on race day. So if you want to change everything, make sure you do it well before the race. Okay, and then, now we're in transition. This is when you go to, you're already in Cebu, you're going to rack your bike already. Okay, the transition is a very, very big place because there are thousands of participants just like you who are going to get ready for the race. So one thing that could help you is when you find your spot, look for something that will orient you where your spot is. You can pick a tree or a pole, or sometimes they even attach balloons to their rack or attach it somewhere like a brightly colored tape, something that you can identify from afar. Because when you're super tired from the swim and you're looking for your bike, sometimes you're so disoriented you can't find it. So if you have something that's visible from afar, that can help. There. Number 36. Set to go. What that means is when you set your transition, you have to make sure that everything from the position of your shoe, attaching your shoe to the pedal if you're used to that, or make sure when your shoe is attached to the pedal, make sure you take out the tongue of the shoe so that it's easy to put your feet inside. So those little things make a huge difference. Even setting the correct gear. When you come out of transition, if it's flat, you can put your gear on the big chain and then find a comfortable gearing at the back for the cogs. But if there's an uphill, you might want to keep it on the small ring first so that you don't struggle when you mount your bike. Sometimes people fall off the bike just because their gearing when they start is wrong. So those are the things you want to think about also. Okay, 37. Everything in its place. So when you get to transition, you walk inside, remember the path that you took, and then you fix your stuff. Then you might want to do a walkthrough going to the swim start, just so you remember your path and you don't get disoriented on race day. Okay? And then when you set your transition area, make sure that your shoes are where you want it to be. If you're gonna wear a cap, set it properly in the most convenient way so that when you wear everything, whether it's from swim to bike or bike to run, everything just happens automatically. So there. Focus on the details. This is what I mentioned earlier. Do a walkthrough from the swim start to the transition area to the exit. These are things you want to rehearse before race day because it's easy to get confused when you're so tired from the swim or there's so many people blocking your way. So when you have the proper mindset and you've already rehearsed everything, everything becomes easier on race day. And, okay, there's a chance that it might rain in Cebu. Could be hot, could be rainy, but if you think it's going to rain, you might want to cover your bike because you have to leave it overnight in the transition area. You might want to bring a huge garbage bag, or if you can buy the similar to what you use to cover the car, something like that, some waterproof material. But if you don't have that, what you can do is you can just cover the important parts of the bike, like the saddle, the handlebars, or your components. Those are the things that you want to make sure are in tip-top condition on race day. So just cover it with plastic bag and then secure it with a rubber band. That will also work. Okay, run to transition. Some of you might prefer walking, but if you're after saving as much time as you can in everything that you do, just running from the swim to transition will already save you a huge amount of time. So if you can manage to run from the swim to transition and from transition to the exit, that will help you save a lot of time. And then go sockless. So you might want to consider not wearing socks during the bike, even if you want to use socks during the run, because it's kind of hard to wear your socks in T1 because your feet are still wet from the swim. If you don't use socks on the bike, the air will dry up your feet. By the time you get to transition 2, you want to wear socks on the run, then your feet are already dry, so it's easier to wear your socks. Okay, and then run with your bike. Okay, there are many ways to hold your bike going out of transition. The most effective way is to hold it by the stem. Before, I used to teach us to hold it by the saddle, but the bike kind of gets out of control if you don't know how to run while holding the saddle of your bike. So the most effective is just hold it by the stem. Gives you more control. And then point it to where you want to go so that you don't end up bumping other people. And then your free arm, so you're holding the stem here, you want to just keep your other arm in the running position so that you can run comfortably. Okay, and then number 43, another way to save time without really exerting more effort than you already need to is to practice your transition. So you can do this in training, the swim, going to the bike, everything you need from wearing your helmet, the step-by-step process, you can practice all of that in training. And then from the bike to the run, how you take off your helmet, how you change into your shoes, all of that you can practice in training. Then you find the most efficient way to change from swim to bike and from bike to run. Okay, respect the rules. There are many ways to cheat in a triathlon race. Sometimes you get away with it, but you're fooling no one but yourself. So there are rules such as drafting or not getting outside help. So all of those things you have to take into consideration because respect also your fellow competitors. Everyone is doing their best, trying their hardest, even if the race is getting difficult. So you respect your fellow competitors by following the rules. They are there to keep the race safe and fair for all. Okay, and then don't get lost. Most organizers provide the bike course or a map of the course ahead of time, so might as well orient yourself, at least find out where the bike course is gonna go. And then if you get a chance, when you get to the race site, when you get to Cebu, if you have a chance to recon even part of the race course, just do so that it's less stress for you not knowing where to go. Just the little details like getting out from the transition area to the road, those are things you want to figure out before the race, so it's less stressful. And number 46, ask the pros. Pros don't have to mean the foreigners who join the 70.3. I'm sure a lot of our Filipino elites are very accommodating if you have questions, or even just people who have already raced Cebu. They don't have to be pros, just people who have done it before. You will be able to learn a lot from them, and you'll be able to save a lot of effort just learning from their mistakes and what they find to be effective on race day. Just asking about the wind, of course, you never know what the weather is gonna be on the day itself, but just knowing how to pace yourself, where it gets difficult, what speed is comfortable, how you attack the wind, where are there any hills in the course. So those are things that are going to help you. You can ask those things from the people who have done the race. Okay, we're down to last 9 tips. Pedal light. So these are techniques that you can apply when you do the course. Pedal light. So ideally, the most advisable cadence when you're doing a long distance bike leg like this, try to find a comfortable cadence from 80 to 100 RPM. So you try to find the correct gear that will allow you to maintain this cadence and help you sustain it through the entire bike leg. Of course, it will change when there's a small hill, but this is the rhythm that you want to be able to maintain throughout the 90K, so that you're gonna get tired later, or you'll be able to save your legs for the run. Okay, and then stay low. Okay, I've set up some bikes here for you guys to know the difference between a road bike, which is the most advisable bike for beginners. If you just want to invest on one bike and it's your first bike, you want to try a road bike first. This one is not as aerodynamic as this one. This is the one that's advisable for the Cebu course because it's a fast course. But the disadvantage of this kind of bike, for beginners, you might find this a little bit aggressive or uncomfortable to bike with because it's forward, and usually we put an aero bar like this here. This takes time to get used to, getting comfortable on the aero bike. But that's where this tip is relevant. You stay low, you try to go as low as you can, so you are going against the least amount of wind possible. Going on this position allows you to have a streamlined position, so less drag. And then if you choose to get a bike like this or get a setup like this, you should get comfortable and practice it in training. Okay, and then relax. When you're on the aero position, it's easy to start raising your shoulders, and this is going to tire you out easily. So you're wasting energy that you need for your legs. So just remember, keep telling yourself to relax when you're on the aero position. Don't stress your shoulders too much. Then relax your tricep and your arms. Engage your core so that some of the weight is distributed to your core, not all on your arms. Okay, and then keep spinning. In case it rains, this is a good tip to know. Of course, you might think that when it's wet, you want to slow down because you want to be careful. Actually, what you want to do is you want to keep spinning through the wet patches, the puddles. Because if you stop spinning, actually that messes up your balance on the bike. when you're turning your legs, it maintains your momentum. So just try that, just in case it rains. And then, study the wind. Knowing where the wind is coming from is gonna help you a lot when you're doing the bike course, especially a long course such as 70.3. So what you can do, you can look at the banners, you can look at the trees, the leaves. Just see where the wind is pushing the leaves or the flags. And then you can also feel it. One way, it gets easier. The other way, it's like you're going against, it's like you're not moving. Sometimes there's also wind from the side. So those things you have to learn so that you can adjust your riding style whenever the wind changes. When there's wind, you don't want to exhaust all of your energy in the headwind. But when there's a tailwind, you don't want to go super fast because you feel super strong, and then on the headwind, you're out of energy. So those are the things you have to manage. Okay. Almost done. Choose your wheel set wisely. Okay. The bikes are also here with different kinds of wheel sets. If you're expecting strong winds during the bike leg, deep aero wheels like this. This is advisable for the headwind because it slices through the wind, and then this one acts as a sail, and it's aerodynamic. So the wind, you are able to slip through the wind better than on a shallow rim like this. This one is not very aerodynamic. But the advantage of this one is if there's a crosswind, this is not gonna get too blown by the crosswind. So if you're a light rider and you still wanna be able to maintain your aero wheels at the back, and then this one in front, just so you don't get blown. That one will, the rear aero wheel will still allow you to have aerodynamic wheels, but shallow rim will prevent you from getting unstable on the bike. Okay. And then hold your pace. Okay, when you're training, there are 3 important skills to train. Number 1 is your endurance, like what I said earlier, aerobic base. That's what you're able to develop when you do your long rides. You're just taking it easy, strolling pace, conversational pace. That one builds your endurance. But on race day, most likely you will be maintaining your pace at a moderately hard. Zone 3 is moderately hard or comfortably hard pace. It's not super fast, but it's also not slow. So that's the one that you need to be able to master during training. Because once you are able to go to your zone 3 by feel, doesn't matter how strong the wind is, doesn't matter if there's a hill or a downhill or flat, you'll be able to adjust to the terrain or the weather conditions accordingly, just by feel. Okay, don't be tempted to go faster when others pass you. I know it's difficult, you don't want to get left behind by other people, but you have to be disciplined with your pacing, because your pacing on the bike will determine your pace on the run. If you kill yourself on the bike, you probably won't have the legs that you should have on the run. So you save your legs for the run. Number 54, 1 leg to go. Like what I said, your bike is your setup, your bike leg is the setup for the run leg. So don't bike as if the finish line is at the end of the bike leg. You have to ride just enough, fast enough to be able to save your legs for the run. Remember, your run is 21 kilometers. It's not short. It's probably gonna take you an average of 2 hours. So you have to be ready for that. Number 55, save gas for the end. Ideally, negative splits is the way to go for races, for long distance races. you want, if there's a headwind or a tailwind, for example, the headwind is going out. So you have to pace yourself. Don't rush. Take your time. It's easy to rush when you just came from the swim to the bike. You have to be disciplined. You have to know how it feels to just back off. The tricky thing is if the tailwind is in the start. So you might go kamikaze and go really hard in the start because there's a tailwind. So again, you have to be able to discipline yourself, find the proper pace that will allow you to be strong until the end. Okay, the last one. Always look ahead. Okay? There are things that you won't be able to control no matter how hard you train, how prepared you are, how much you invested in your registration, your hotel booking, and your airfare. But if bad luck happens during the race, don't take it, so don't try not to ruin the whole event or the whole vacation, racecation, just because you didn't have a good race. So whether it's just unfortunate luck, like a flat tire or lack of preparation, just learn from it, let it go, forget it, and then move on. So that will help you be motivated and try to do better in your next race. That's all. I hope you learned something. I know it was a very long list of tips. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
All right, time for questions for Coach Kaye. Una, please give it up for Coach Kaye. That's one of the most giving lists we've ever seen here. That's everything you need to know, not only for the 70.3, but for every triathlon you will race in from now on. So any questions? We know that there were 56 tips given out. If you have any question from any of the 56 tips, now is the time. We have microphones in front of the stage. May Romoronda rin dun sa likod, isa pang microphone. We have a question?
No questions?
All right, first question. Nag-uunahan pa sila. All right. Ay, picture pala yun. Question. Yes, sir.
In terms of hydration, which one's better, the Gatorade or the cocoa water that they normally also offer?
Okay, it's a
Or
good
a combination.
Yeah,
that you
it's a good
recommend?
question. So a few things. Number one, buko juice or cocoa water has potassium. It's very rich in potassium. But the problem is it doesn't have sodium. And sodium is the one that's important for your muscles to work properly. Gatorade has both. It's already scientifically studied. The proportions, the ingredients, the kind of sugar that they use to make the Gatorade. Doesn't have to be Gatorade, can be any sports drink. So at the end of the day, whatever you practice in training, whatever works for you is the best hydration drink for you. So maybe Gatorade works for somebody else, maybe coconut water works for somebody else. So it depends. But in coconut water, you have to take into consideration that it might not have enough sodium.
Follow up?
Would you recommend combining water and Gatorade in that case? Or would it be okay if you just survive on Gatorade the whole race?
Again, I go back to whatever works for you in training. I could share with you my experience. Like for me, I only carry water and gels because I need to take water with my gels. But for some people, they might be okay using Gatorade or whatever sports drink and not even carrying gels. So all of this you have to figure out in training because what works for you doesn't necessarily work for somebody else.
Next question? Over on that side, meron ba tayo dyan? Dami nyo dyan. There's a lot of people on this side who had the benefit of the screen also. Any question? Those were 56 tips. You'll be covering 56 miles in Cebu, so get those questions out of the way. All right, my question naman, Coach Kaye, is why does the gel and the sports drink not necessarily mix?
It has to do with the concentration of sugar and all the ingredients found in the gel and the sports drink. So the sports drink already has carbs. The body is not able to absorb too much carbs because it's not the same concentration as our blood. So what the gels do, it gives you the carbs and the electrolytes, but you need to you need to take it with water so that the body can absorb it. The sports drink, it's already prepared. So it already has the correct concentration of carbs, electrolytes, and water. So that's it's easy to take in by the body.
Okay, next question. Over here, guys, she said it right. 80% of the race, you will be on your bike. So you'd better start asking questions. We had a lot of questions for the swim. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Just harapan. Yung isang mic na lang, isang mic.
Hello, hello. We were the athletes suffering two flat tires in one event. Is it necessary to bring two tubes?
Yes, I think that was in one of my tips kanina. I've had students who had such bad luck that they've had flats 3 times. You just need to bring as much as is possibly, as much as you can. Siyempre, you can't naman bring everything, then it'll be too heavy on your bike. But it's best to be prepared. If you can bring 2 tubes, that's good. If you can bring pit stop, or if you can bring CO2 cartridge, you bring your patch kit, all of those are gonna be helpful. It's gonna be tricky if you're using tubulars. They're a bit bulkier to bring, and then it has to have the adhesive already. But the more prepared you are, the better. Because you never know. Sometimes you change your flat, and then maybe you attached it wrong. May naipit na inner tube, na part ng inner tube, then it gets a flat again. So you never know. Just bring as much as you can. But for example, like the last tip, if all else fails, just learn from it, then maybe you'll have better luck next time.
Next question. Yes, ma'am. Microphone in front of you, sir. Ma'am.
This is a very trivial question, pero I've had a spare tube from last year. Will that still, it's sealed kasi in a wrap, in a plastic wrap. So I'm wondering if that's still okay, or do these things degrade over time?
Actually, yes, they do. I think I mentioned it also earlier. You have to check if it still holds air. So one thing you can do, yes, you open it, you attach it, you install it, you try it for several rides. If you don't have any problems, then it still works. But if, for example, in a train, you might as well have a flat during training than during the race. So at least you tried it.
Madam, question.
Coach Kaye, may tanong ako. For the newcomers also and the new triathletes, kasi the SRP is biglang dilim. From the morning na sun, di ba? Tapos pagpasok sa SRP tunnel, biglang dilim. Meron bang tip kung anong kind ng shades ang susuotin?
It's tricky because that's the only part that's dark. Everything else might be bright and sunny. So what you can do if you're really concerned about that section of the road, maybe just bring down your shades so that you can look through the small area there. So, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to tell. If it's a rainy day, then you wear your clear shades. But if it's just that short part, maybe just bring down your shades na lang.
Next question. 90K ito, 90K, yung bike natin dito. I'm sure you have some question along the way. What's the best tip that you can give everybody from moving from T1 to the next to the bike leg? Kasi kanya-kanyang ritual yan sa transition, di ba? What works for you? What's the best way to handle T1 going into the bike route?
Well, what works for me is from the swim, you run. It saves you a lot of time. The day before or the morning before, when you set up your transition area, there's a way of putting things in order. Like if you're gonna put your helmet, put your shades inside with yung dito sa gilid sticking out, so that when you get your shades, it's already in the correct position. Get your shades, get your helmet. Your race belt, you're gonna wear it in T1. So you already attach it, then you wear it like you wear your underwear. Instead of fiddling with the buckle you might not be able to attach it fast. So it's already there, you just wear it. And then one way you can also save time, when you wear your race belt, your shoes are already there. If you're not used to wearing your shoes on the bike, it's already there. So when you put your race belt on, you put your feet inside already. So if you can multitask, that's the best way to save time in transition.
And the same question naman for T2 to the run. What's your tip?
To the run, T2 is actually faster because you're easy lang, shoes lang eh. If you need to wear pa your socks, that's the other time-consuming item that you need to wear. So you already put your socks inside the shoes if you're not yet wearing them. And then when you, the helmet, by the way, about your question earlier, as much as possible, try to wear the helmet first or the shades first because you can get disqualified if you forget to wear your helmet. So in T2, that's the last thing naman that you take off. So take off your shoes, cycling shoes. Your running shoes are already there with the socks inside. Better to sit down because when you wear your socks, standing up, you might cramp the calf because your leg position is like this. This can lock up. So you sit down, wear your socks, wear your shoes. Then if you need to wear a cap, wear it on the run. Instead of stopping there wearing your cap, you can wear it on the run. Then don't forget to turn your race belt around so that your number is in front.
Good tip.
So multitask.
Yep. Who else? Other questions? Magtanong na kayo kasi may game tayo, mami. We'll be playing a game. All right, there you go. Tayuan na.
Have a lot of time to train. Then now pa lang you're starting or you've only started a few weeks ago, then it's okay to gradually increase pa rin. If you think you're kulang on the ride, on the bike, then you can still increase. But just make sure on race week, that's when you really taper. You need to be fresh on race week. So it depends.
Sige, any more questions? Yes, sir.
Let's say you experience a cramp while you're still on the bike. What would you recommend? What is the best way to do? Do you recommend that you stop or just keep on spinning?
Try not to stop. In terms of your spinning or when you turn your legs, you try to go on an easier gear. Okay? Kasi your gear might be too heavy. You want to spin, diba kanina, pedal light. So you want to maintain a high cadence. And then just sometimes just by making it lighter, your cramps will go away. But I've also experienced just taking gels. That will also help, or taking salt tablets. That can also help. So your nutrition and your riding style might help get rid of your cramps. But don't stop because the more it will come out when you stop. And then it's going to be hard to start again. Okay.
Next question? Yes, ma'am.
Yung bike fitting ba, does it help? Bike fitting.
Yes, very much. Because it was in one of the first few slides kanina. You want to be aerodynamic because it's a fast course. But if you're aerodynamic, but you're uncomfortable, or you have back pain or knee pain, wala your aerodynamics. So better to get a bike fit from a professional or somebody who really knows what they're doing. Because that can really make a huge difference, especially on such a long ride like 90 kilometers.
Thank you. Next question, please. Wala na tanong, kaya nyo na. You can do the bike course already? 90K? Who are the first timers who are going to Cebu for the first time? Okay, maybe Coach Kaye, you can talk about the conditions of the roads. Alam ko bago na yung route this year, but talk about what to expect. I mean, asan yung mahangin na portion? Asan yung part na kailangan lang mag-ingat?
I'm only familiar with the course last year. So, the wind kasi, medyo unpredictable siya eh. So, but I know from joining the race already twice, there's a section that is headwind, there's a section that is tailwind, and then there's also a section that is crosswind. So, like what I mentioned a while ago, for someone like me who gets easily blown by the wind, even if I want to be aerodynamic, I have to change my front wheel because it helps me be more stable on the aero bars. I'm not sure if we're still gonna go through the lot of potholes. I'm not sure. Yeah, but just watch out. Just watch out. There are patches of road that are not as smooth as you'd like them to be. So you wanna know where they are from afar. Look ahead. Make sure you can see where the holes are, so you don't go through them. Okay, and then what else?
Over the
there are
back.
some-
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's the difficult part aside from the headwind and the crosswind is the bridge. That's the only place where you'll get hills. It's short, not so steep, but when you're already tired, you really feel it on the legs. So you try to spin on the hills. Don't mash it because that's where the cramps creep up. So just keep your spinning steady, especially on the hills. Yes, other question.
I think there's a question there sa likod. No? Okay. Yeah, sir, go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to share, I'm from Cebu, and just like to share the road conditions right now. So if you're talking about road conditions, there's an ongoing repair near SM area and Pier 4, the pier area. So I don't know with the organizers right now if how do they manage the bike traffic on those areas. Because parang 2 lanes lang yan, I'm not sure. Then when it comes to the headwind, SRP is very headwind talaga near Lantau restaurant. In that portion, very strong headwind.
Thank you po. Thank you very much.
Okay? Any more questions? We're going to play a game. 56 yan kanina. May examination tayong gagawin. Alright. Sige, gawa na tayo ng game. Alright, with Coach Kaye right now, we are going to give away a few freebies from our friends from Panda and... Panda muna. Okay, Panda. We have 10 caps from Panda. Ang gagawin ni Coach Kaye ngayon, she'll ask a question about the 56 tips. You have to answer the question. Alright, the person who's going to answer is going to use these 2 mics sa harapan. Sige, Coach Kaye, question number 1. Hindi na maalala ni Coach Kaye yung tips niya.
When you're booking your ticket and you're gonna use a hard case, what is the baggage allowance?
Go! Microphone! Go! Ayan.
25. Correct.
25, correct? Congratulations, ma'am. Ganun lang kadali yun. So go back through the entire list of 56. Coach Kaye, question number 2. Ikaw ba'y nahirapan? Question number 2.
How many days before the race should you increase your carb intake?
Dali lang yun. That was at the front end. Microphone? Nearest the microphone. Saan?
3 days.
Ayun. 3 days na. Palapitan ng microphone eh. 3 days. Correct ba yun?
3 to 4 days. Yep.
3 to 4 days. Okay, acceptable daw. 3 to 4 days. Next question.
What is the best bike to use for the 70.3 course?
What is the best bike?
Time trial.
Ilala? Okay, tama daw. One more cap. Sa mga pagito, come on. Those were a lot of tips. So Coach Kaye is still thinking about what to ask you. Question number 4.
Anong cut off daw sa bike?
Anong oras daw ang cut-off ng bike? How many hours after? Lapit sa mic. Hala, hindi na alam.
Si Princess yung makakasagot niyan. Hindi ako.
Bike cutoff is at what time? Daya ni Madam, may kodigo. The bike cutoff is at what time? That's correct. That is correct. Okay, dun. 5 hours and 30 minutes after the last swimmer. Or the last leg of the swim. Next.
Give me one important bike check before the race.
One important bike check. There are several. Just one.
Break.
Ano daw?
Check the brakes.
Okay, very good. Congratulations. Ganun lang kadali. Next, coach.
And give me three na lang, so madali lang. Give me three items that you should have in your checklist.
Three items on the checklist. Let's go. Come on. Yes. Hala. Go to the mic. Go to the mic. Three items.
Okay, spare tubes, gel, and you should also have water, anything for hydration.
Very good. All right. Asa na? Pang ilan na tayo? Ilan na natitira? Question number 6. Tama ba? 7. 7 pala. Titignan lang na niya yung kodigo niya.
During training, what is the range, if you're a beginner, how much of the race distance do you need to accomplish in training?
Yep.
50 to 80.
Sino? 50 to 80. Is this correct? Correct. All right.
Bilisan mo yung...
Planted ba? Planted. May planted ba dyan sa likod? Sige, anong question number 8?
Yung isa, to build a deeper fitness level or endurance. Ano yung range?
80 to 110.
That's correct. That's correct. 80 to 110. 2 questions to go. Ayan na, may kodigo na.
Panda models. What term did I use to describe how you should treat your nutrition on the bike?
Uy. Okay. Hati kayo sa cup.
Hindi ako pwede, di ba?
Alright, last question.
How long does your glycogen store last? How many minutes?
Uy. Did you listen to that part? Pakisagot po. Ano yan? May coach eh. Yes, sir.
60 to 90 minutes.
Very good. Congratulations. Finally, may nanalo from this side. Okay. So, Coach Kaye, we'll have more games later on. Pero Coach Kaye, thank you very much. We have a special certificate of appreciation. It reads, the certificate of appreciation is presented to Kaye Lopez, the guest speaker. 56 tips to conquer 56 miles. Cobra Ironman 70.3 Send-Off Expo Rockwell tent. Yan, thank you.
Kunin mo yung clicker sa kamay.
Meron pa. Yan. Okay, picture muna solo tapos everybody can have a picture with Coach Kaye. Okay, bago tayo mag-get dito, no? Coach Kaye, sa mga gusto mag-training sa'yo, where do they find you?
You can just approach me so I can give you my contact number. But we have our training sessions in the Makati or South area. So the Fort, Mall of Asia, in Alabang, Nuvali, that's our usual venues for training. So everyone is welcome to join us. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck to everybody going to Cebu. Picture, everybody. Class picture. Everybody who's here, who listened to the talk, picture na with Coach Kaye. Website, ano daw website?
May request si Jen. www.fitplusacademy.com.
Time to have a commemorative shot with Coach Kaye before you guys head off to Cebu on August 3. That will be the race. Chance to have your picture taken now.